Episode 2. River anticipated that Henry wouldn't make things easy for her. Putting down her wine glass, she responded, "Monsieur Devereaux, I understand that you've expressed interest in working with MK for some time now. Surely you are familiar with MK's prowess in the Etes continent. Rather than you having to travel to meet Mr. DeMarco, why don't I take the initiative to sign the contract on his behalf, as a gesture of our respect for you? I believe it's a brilliant idea. Don't you agree, Monsieur Devereaux?" At River's proposal, the smile on Henry's face faltered and his gaze grew sharper as he stared at her. Despite her nervousness, River managed to maintain her composure. Using Noah as leverage to compel Henry to sign the contract was her only option. The room's atmosphere momentarily turned somber, but Henry soon broke the silence with a laugh. "Miss Healy, I appreciate your proposal. MK has shown me respect, so it's only fitting that I sign this contract." With that, Henry reached for the contract and pen on the table and signed it after a casual look. River was taken aback. She had not anticipated Henry's swift compliance. However, under such circumstances, River dared not let her guard down. After signing, Henry handed the contract to River. "Well, I've given you what you came for. Shouldn't you keep me company now?" River's expression shifted, and she feigned ignorance. "Monsieur Devereaux, I'm afraid my alcohol tolerance can't match yours." "Who said I wanted you to drink with me?" Henry leaned forward and grabbed River's wrist. "Ms. Healy, I'm only going to receive a 3% profit margin from MK. Since I've made a concession, I believe you should provide me with some additional benefits." River's mind went blank. Had the contract been altered? Did Noah do it? After all, only the two of them had been involved in preparing the contract. Her heart sank, but her body suddenly felt hot. River's eyes widened as she stared at the wine glass on the coffee table. If her suspicions were correct, Henry must have drugged the wine. River clenched her teeth and struggled with all her might to push Henry away from her. She could see the impatience in his green eyes and realized that he had also ingested the drugged wine that he had prepared. Despite her efforts, Henry was too strong for her to resist. She could feel his lips closing in on hers and knew that she had to act quickly. River lowered her head and bit down hard on the back of his hand, causing him to cry out in pain. Enraged by River's action, Henry struck her across the face with great force. The blow was so powerful that River's vision began to fade, and a metallic taste filled her mouth. "You came here seeking me out. Why are you pretending?" Henry sneered as he reached for the vodka on the coffee table. With one hand pinching River's face, he forced the alcohol down her throat. The alcohol flowed into her mouth and nose, causing a suffocating sensation to overwhelm her. She struggled vigorously, but she couldn't break free from Henry's restraint. River was on the verge of collapsing, her cheeks wet with tears. She should have seen this coming. For 3 years, no commission from MK had ever reached $70,000. Naively, she trusted Noah, believing he wouldn't manipulate her into the clutches of a pervert like Henry. Clearly, she was mistaken, and her biggest error was trusting Noah. River had shared a bed with him every night, but he had always treated her like a plaything, one that could be easily discarded with money. Henry ripped her clothes apart. In her despair, River suddenly caught a glimpse of a vase beside her. She grabbed the vase in passing and with all her strength, hurled it at the back of Henry's head. The vase struck him with great force, causing him to let go of her and cry out in pain as he clutched his head. Fuming with anger, Henry cursed at River. "You damn woman. How dare you strike me?" Despite her intense dizziness, River managed to grab the signed contract from the coffee table before making her escape. Rushing out, she collided with a tall figure, a familiarly handsome and sinister face. Tears filled River's eyes as she struggled, thrusting the contract into Noah's arms. Though she held onto Noah's clothes, She slid down weakly. In a hoarse voice, River murmured, "Noah, I got the contract signed. Remember the $70,000 commission?" Noah caught her before she fell. Just then, Henry emerged from the suite. Seeing Noah carrying River, Henry demanded, "Give me that woman." Noah's cold demeanor intensified upon hearing Henry's demand. Reuben, who followed closely behind, immediately intervened. He sternly warned Henry, "Monsieur Devereaux, she is Mr. de Marco's woman. How dare you lay hands on her?" Henry's mind was clouded, and his next words were filled with anger. "How is that possible? Then why did she come to meet me alone?" Reuben meaningfully reminded him, "Do you think it's a coincidence that Mr. de Marco is here?" Henry was left dumbfounded as if a fishbone was stuck in his throat when he realized the truth of Reuben's words. In the back seat of the black Maybach, River lay on Noah's lap. She panted and murmured incoherently while tugging at her clothes. The drug Henry had given her had taken its toll, evident by her flushed face. The car was dimly lit, and Noah's dark eyes betrayed no emotion, but his jaw was tightly clenched. He took River's small hands in his large palm and ordered coldly, "Tell the project department to stop funding our collaboration with Henry until he begs for forgiveness." Reuben understood his boss's intentions well. He knew this was just the beginning. Mr. de Marco wouldn't let Henry get off this easily. Despite Mr. de Marco's claims that he didn't like River, he had immediately sent Reuben to pick her up from the hotel after she left the company. Reuben couldn't help but sigh silently. It was clear that his boss had feelings for River. Suddenly, River pleaded for help in a trembling voice. "Noah, please help me. It's so hot." She clung tightly to Noah's shirt, pulling him closer. Her voice was filled with torment and ambiguity. Even Reuben, driving, felt embarrassed as he saw her sweaty forehead and exposed cleavage from the mirror when she opened her collar. Noah's eyes narrowed as he assessed River's condition. He ordered Reuben to stop the car and step out. Reuben complied. After pulling the car over, he quickly exited and walked more than 10 meters away. He then stood with his back facing the car. Meanwhile, in the car, Noah's gaze landed on River again. He carefully sat her up on his lap, supporting her back with one arm while his other hand gently cradled her head. His icy gaze softened as he leaned in and pressed his cool lips against her feverish ones. River woke up the next day feeling groggy and in pain, her body aching all over. As she sat up in the bed, she looked around the room, trying to piece together how she had ended up there the night before. A familiar hoarse voice interrupted her thoughts. "You're awake." Suddenly, memories of the previous night flooded her mind, causing her face to flush. She remembered her encounter with Noah and how he had aided her escape, but she still needed answers about the changes to the contract terms. Despite her dizziness, River mustered the strength to get up and faced Noah's indifferent gaze. "Mr. de Marco, why didn't you inform me about the changes in the contract?" Noah narrowed his eyes.
Full story is available at novelpalace.com. Click the link in the comment section to get it free.